Starting a family is probably one of the most rewarding things you can do with your life. Second only to running a mediocre YouTube channel behind a cartoon head, but it's also one of the most challenging. You have to worry about schooling, getting them to eat healthily, raising them to be good people, and now, gender. But don't let that list put you off having a child of your own, because we have Lindsay of Queer Kid Stuff ready to lend her expertise.
Hey there friends, welcome to Queer Kid Stuff. I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Teddy.
Sorry to interrupt guys, but you both got shit on your sweaters.
Today we're talking to the grown-ups about parenting and gender.
Gender! I love talking about gender.
Yeah, I know, Teddy, but then that's Stockholm Syndrome for you. And Lindsay, if you are talking to the adults, get rid of the bear, you patronising shitwad.
Queer Kid Stuff. You are enough here at Queer Kid Stuff. Ready, Teddy?
Ready, Lindsay.
Okay, today we're talking to the grown-ups about parenting and gender.
Let me guess. Waiting until a child's old enough to choose their gender whilst professing that sex is biological but gender is a mental state of being, rather than accepting the infrastructure of human knowledge as an actual thing, therefore setting the kid up for a lifetime of confusion and ridicule at the hands of the children who have parents that care more for them than they do about their own social ideology. Yep, I think I nailed it there. Let's find out.
There are lots of different ways to think about parenting and gender, but before we get into it, I have to make a confession.
You're not human, are you? Oh, bless you, Lindsay. That's not a confession. That's stating the fucking obvious.
What is it, Lindsay?
I'm not a parenting expert.
Oh, pardon me. That is stating the fucking obvious.
What?
I don't have kids, and it's not my specialty.
Well, I mean, that may be shocking news to someone on this not flat earth, but I still have to ask the question, what the fuck are you doing making these videos then? If raising kids isn't your specialty, what is? Being gay? Because that's all you have left. Take the kids out of Queer Kid Stuff and all you're left with is queer stuff, and it doesn't take a genius with a fucking degree to know what that means. Normally, it's down to the parents to screw up their kids, but because you don't have any of your own, you're gonna traumatize the next generation for them, are you? Maybe you should charge money for that service, Lindsay. That way you'd be making more than, geez, $222 a month. That's actually quite a lot considering there are pedophiles out there who fuck up childhoods for free.
So, I thought for this episode we would talk to parents about how they approach gender and parenting with their kids.
Oh, grand. So, let's bring up the old checklist. What should we have? How about exploring gender? Gender assigned at birth? That's an important one, that is. Let's throw in some they-them pronouns, and what do you think are the chances of one of them being an overweight Asian lesbian? Bit of a wild card, I know, but if we get all of them, then everybody gets laid. Sound good, Teddy?
Yeah. That sounds good.
Bangin'. Let's do it. Lindsay, bring on the gays.
My name is Max, and I am the proud parent of Josephine.
Oh, and right off the bat, we have some they-them pronouns. Let's tick that bitch off and get back in there.
Who is 4 years old now. I am identifying as transgender, non-binary.
What? How? How can you be transgender and non-binary? And a cursory glance at the Argo Collective, of which Max here is the founder, it says your pronouns are he, they, and also that you're the co-founder. So do you want all the labels, or do you just have a hard time picking a damn side?
I'm the one who carried Josephine, and when I was pregnant, I was already using neutral terms about the baby we were going to have.
That's cool. A lot of people do that when they don't know the actual gender of the unborn baby yet. I, however, tend to refer to them as tumours. Pregnant women really don't like that, but if I've just given up my seat on the bus so your fat ass can sit down, I'm gonna talk smack about your fetus.
I didn't know the gender of the baby we're gonna have. A lot of people asked me which gender was our baby, and I was like, I don't know, and I'm gonna wait until they're born.
Yep, okay, again, a lot of people do that. Up to them, isn't it? But it does annoy me when all they want to talk about is whether they're gonna have a boy or a girl. I don't care, Shannon. It'll probably be fuck ugly anyway.
Which, that's what we did when discovered they were assigned female at birth.
Oh, shit, that's another one off the list. Assigned a gender at birth. Get in. It's almost as though it's completely predictable.
When I started talking more with my baby, I was always using gender neutral terms, like, this person over there, or this kid.
Well, a kid is actually a baby goat, Max. So if you could use some species neutral terms, that'd be great.
Or this person with the red sweater. And I was always trying to get that feeling of not trying to guess anyone's gender.
Guess? There's very little guessing involved, Max. I mean, sure, some people could be their own category on Jeopardy, but for the majority of people, all you have to do is give them the old ocular pat down and you're done.
Which is interesting because at the time I was still perceived as a woman. I was not out yet as a transgender person. I didn't discover that about myself yet.
You're gonna have to speak up, Max. You're battling against a ukulele here.
When Josephine was 2 years old, I asked them if they were feeling like a boy or a girl, and they looked at me and said,
I want to talk to Child Protective Services?
well, I feel like a kid.
Funny that, isn't it? Almost like children have an intrinsic innocence. But don't worry, Max. Lindsay's gonna change all that by showering them with social politics.
And I was like, okay, my job is done here. That's exactly what I wanted to understand. And I was like, why did I ask this question?
Yeah, why did you ask that question, Max? I don't think your daughter understood shit from it. I mean, you gave her a choice of two genders, even though you yourself say you're non-binary and therefore neither of the genders you offered, and she answered, I'm a kid. Which clearly isn't what you asked, is it?
This question was already biased.
You're damn right it was, and this was when your daughter was 2 years old, so I have a question for you, Max. What the fuck?
This is where I understood the power of the vocabulary, the language we use, especially with kids. Now, Josephine used most of the time kids, person, adults.
Oh, good. Your child is using the correct words for things. Hardly makes you a contender for Parent of the Year, but at least she isn't eating glue.
And that's for me a way for them to explore gender at their own pace.
Boom! Exploring gender. Another one down. We're cooking with gas here, people.
And without the need to be put in a box of a gender that they were assigned at birth.
I don't see how telling your daughter she's a girl is putting her in a box. I mean, she's not going to be like, oh, I was going to be a scientist when I grow up, but now I can. Actually, she probably can't because of your flagrant disregard of actual biology.
Hi, I'm Jess. I have 3 kids, all of whom were assigned male at birth.
Too quiet and too ugly. Next.
So for us, my partner and I, we decided not to know the assigned sex.
Ha! Overweight Asian lesbian! Overweight Asian lesbian! We did it!
Because we didn't want, even though we're both like pretty thoughtful about gender, we knew that on some level, if we knew what the assigned sex was, we would like think in the back of our minds about what the baby would be.
What do you mean? If it's a boy, it's a boy, and if it's a girl, it's a girl. Or do you mean you'd be worried that one day your child would sit you both down and say, Mum, and other mum, I'm not transgender. And you'd both be like, where did we go wrong? We took them to see drag acts, we fed them plenty of soy, where did we go wrong? And then your partner would say, it's because you have 2 capital letters in your first name, Kaylin. God is punishing us. Seems unlikely, I know, but I got the overweight Asian lesbian thing right, so not impossible.
So, I mean, we did make the choice, and some of my friends have made the choice to raise their kids gender neutral until they're able to say what gender they are, which I think is kind of cool. Really cool, actually.
Well, I think it's really cruel, but there's no law against being a dick, is there?
We made the choice to use female pronouns for our daughter, who was assigned female at birth. You know, we have a non-binary person in our household.
What? No, really, what? I didn't understand a fucking word of that. Even the subtitles are confused. Look, we have a 9 by her purse on our household. Are you telling me you gave your daughter a gun? Best mum ever.
We have a lot of queer trans friends. I really sincerely hope that my child will feel comfortable letting us know if that's not right.
You want your child to let you know if she thinks having queer and trans friends isn't right? Damn! First the gun by the purse and now this. I mean, this girl really is open-minded.
I think it's also about having conversations about gender, about identity, about us and how we identify as queer people and what that word means and...
How are you going to explain what the word queer means? Like, well, daughter mine, it used to be an offensive term up until about 10 years ago, but then something happened, not sure what, and now it's an identity. I mean, when there are things like, what does being queer mean to you? How are you ever going to explain that? Look at some of the answers.
I think that queer is about breaking binaries, embracing yourself without having to put a label on it.
Well, you just fucking did.
Being queer can give people a sense of community, but also isolates them at the same time.
What? How are you going to accept? Your daughter's going to ask you what queer means and you'll just go, it's a fucking paradox, man. I don't know.
How it means different things for one parent versus the other. And for people in general, that actually sort of like move us forward in terms of how we treat kids.
Yeah, why go out into the world to be confused when you can achieve the same thing at home?
In talking about gender and educating about gender and really opening that door for them to be creative.
To be creative. Creative! It's their biological gender, not a fucking paint set, you animal!
So we give Romy lots of different kinds of toys to play with. Everything from like a princess castle to like a race car and then like everything in between, like cars and trucks and books and...
Well, for someone who actually wrote a book on guiding young women into feminist activism, you really are about the gendered toys, aren't you? Our daughter might decide to be a boy, so we better get some cars, but she also might not decide to be a boy, so grab that princess castle just in case.
Horses and Care Bears and little people and, you know, forest animals and lots of dinosaurs and just like lots of different stuff.
Wow, you're like an advert for Toys R Us. And if anyone's wondering what happened to Jeffrey the giraffe after they closed down, she fucking ate him.
We don't have any dolls. Not by design, we just like don't have any around the house. It's not something that I had a lot of interest in as a kid, so I don't have a lot of them, and Waffle didn't either, so we just don't have dolls.
You do realise the dolls are for your daughter to play with and not for you, right?
I will admit that the first time I saw Ruby playing with dolls at someone else's house, I was like a little taken aback by it because I just didn't know where it came from. Like that she was like holding it down, like rocking it.
Oh no! Gender roles! Bad overweight Asian lesbian! Bad!
And our friend who was babysitting her was like, oh, you know, give the baby a kiss, and she gave it a kiss, and she was putting it to bed and feeding it, and I've seen her do that with other dolls since then.
Well, why didn't you stop her? Explain that this unlearned and instinctual behaviour is really a product of the ubiquitous patriarchy, after you've explained what queer means, obviously. Glop!
And my immediate reaction was like, oh no, like where did she learn that really sort of gendered, feminine play?
Yeah, I think we all just found out why you haven't given her any dolls to play with.
And then, you know, a friend of mine who's queer and trans, like, helped me step back and think about, like, why is it bad that my child, regardless of gender, is nurturing?
So all it takes for you to see any form of sense is for a transgender queer to explain it to you. Wow, I've just found feminism's weak spot.
And isn't that, like, messed up? That I should have to worry that my kid learning to be, like, kind and nurturing and caring is going to hurt her or harm her in some way in the future.
But surely you were kind and nurturing and caring when you had her. It didn't harm you, did it? Well, except for the overeating and excess adipose tissue. No such thing as a hot feminist, is there?
Like, that really stinks. That really kind of stinks.
Yep, that's your brain on feminism, Caitlin. Not even once.
And it helped me appreciate it. Like, appreciate the ways that,
Do you know what? I don't care. Bring back the bear.
There are so many ways to think about parenting and gender.
I'm so glad we got to hear a bunch of different perspectives on this.
But we didn't, did we? I mean, you guys will have to take my word for it unless you want to head over to Queer Kid Stuff and watch the video for yourselves, but they all encourage their kids to think about their own gender. Even the ugly one I skipped. Which, I mean, why? Whether you think it was assigned or not, it ain't fucking changing. Is it like an exercise to get them all riled up about things they can't control, like some kind of tranny boot camp? Why not contemplate other things instead, like the vastness of the universe or why your parents are so intent on fucking you up? Of course, the scariest part is they want these things taught in schools, meaning the next generation is going to consist mainly of easily offended wusses, moaning about their preferred pronouns and taking cover whenever anyone claps their hands. But on the plus side, there won't be a shortage of easy targets to bully for their lunch money. Thanks for watching, guys. Please consider becoming a patron because someone took my lunch money. And check me out on BitChute, which is like YouTube but non-binary. The links are in the description, and remember, if you spend your time questioning your gender, why not get a fucking job instead?